I said good evening, and good to see all of us this afternoon gathered in this place to cover this very interesting topic that we have been looking into, that we have been making known to you, navigating career options with your Gen Z child. This is one of the most interesting and important topics at this time. We have seen what the Gen Zs are able to do. Our goal this evening is to equip you with practical strategies for guiding your Gen Z children in career decision-making. This has been an area of great conversation, especially among career teachers and people in the offices, and even parents asking us, how can I guide my child? How can I guide my Gen Z, my young person, to understand the career that they can take? Many are choosing one option. Tomorrow you find them thinking the other one can do better, and before long they are lost in the ever-growing career field. So this evening we'll be looking into this, and I'm grateful once again to tell you, karibuni sana, as we go through this. It's interesting when we describe a Gen Z. There are many people who can say many other things, but I was seeing somebody who was describing them as practically born with smartphones in their hands. And that's why they are like wizards with gadgets and can find anything online in seconds. Sometimes you, as a parent, I came with a new phone, and before long, your young people have already known things that you yourself may not know for a long time. These young people, they are inclusive, and everyone is welcome in their school. It doesn't matter the color, the gender, or who they love, and so forth. They are big on fairness, and they want to make the world better. Activism is their jam, and they are not shy about speaking up what is right. They have no problem working in their pajamas, and they prefer startups and freelancing. I'm sure this is a shock to many parents, because we have grown knowing that you need a job that will be already established organization where you can stay until your retirement. And now, to the shock nowadays is that these young people, they prefer a business they can start, their own freelancing. The gig economy is their juice. We can then, therefore, summarize the Gen Zs as a mix of tech smarts, caring for the world with a dash of rebellion. So don't be surprised to see even what they did in our own country, Kenya. They can demand for what they believe is rightfully theirs. And even in our homes, our Gen Zs will not keep quiet. They will most likely push you parents until you are able to know what you can do. I have an interesting experience in my own house where I tried to guide one of my children to a career that I thought this would be ideal. It works well with the person I see, and maybe the career aspirations. I was thinking of my young girl from the time she was young. And when the results came out of the university choices she had been given, she had been called for an area that I thought this was suitable. And as a parent, I worked very hard, moved very fast. But then one day she said, no, I don't think this is what I want. Dad, I want to be, and she mentioned the career she wanted. And from there, it was trying to see, how do I go to where they change careers in the university placement portal, and try and change career. Luckily, we managed to get what she liked. And to this day, she has just cleared her postgraduate diploma, and she's excited with the career that she wants to take. I'm sure, Sheila, you may have a story of yourself, of what you have gone through in guiding the young people in this very field. Sheila, welcome.
Hello, everyone. And thank you very much, Peter, for starting us off on this very pertinent conversation. I'm grateful for this opportunity to just share also my personal experience and insights on navigating career options for Gen Zs. Yeah, you described them aptly. Actually a parent of 3 Gen Zs, so you can imagine the conversations in our home are very robust, sometimes loud, but very interesting, because for sure they have, a mind of their own and very able to articulate, what they want and how they want it. So yes, what you mentioned right now and about, for example, your daughter. So we have three young adults, like I said, and one of our young adults in particular. So from a very young age, he was very good with his hands. You know, anything you gave him to do with his hands, he was very quick to build something, to make something. I remember even when he was young, the first gifts that we bought him of Play-Doh, very quickly he made a fruit basket or an animal. And so we realized that, you know, he has some sort of gift or some talent in terms of, you know, creativity. But as he went along, you know, even in high school, he excelled in sciences, in arts. He was an A student. And so when he completed his Form 4 exams, he got an A and did very well. We were very excited. And then he was called to the university to do architecture. And so we were very excited. And you can imagine, you know, generational differences, you know, these are the traditional careers, architecture, and we were very happy. But as, you know, as the conversation continued, we realized that that's not what he wanted to do. And one day he just came to us and said, Mom, Dad, I don't want to do architecture. So you can imagine, you know, the kind of reaction we got. First of all, you know, like, okay, then what do you want to do? And basically he said, I don't want to do architecture. I'm still figuring it out. And so you can imagine as parents, you know, wanting the best for your child, wanting the best, you know, but wanting it in the way that you want. So we wanted our son to do architecture because I guess, you know, it was for us, not for him. And so the conversation started around then what do you want to do? And so started that journey of surrendering our dreams and now, you know, listening to him and what he wants. And of course, you know, there was anxiety, you know, like, so what then does he want? And I remember having conversations with other universities where they offer programs like art, because we knew he was inclined to art, to, you know, he's a sculptor, you know, he was inclined in that direction. But going to other universities and, you know, one of the things they said is we can't offer him a course because he has not done fine art from high school. So there we were with a son who has done well, but, you know, looking for what then will he do? And
Sheila, it
yes,
seems this to be a common issue among many families where they
yes,
fight that although they have been admitted to courses that everybody wants envies to be in, but then they tell you, no, that's not exactly what I'm looking at. And before we continue, allow me to introduce you properly because
okay.
I had not done so. Let me introduce Sheila Bero as a former ADMI parent. As she has said, she is a mom to 3 Gen Zs. Sheila, you are like me, a father of 3 Gen Zs. And I know you have experienced a lot of discussing on the career choices with each one of them and seeing how best they work. Now, for myself, I've been the former head of school at ADMI. I was there for some time, and I saw parents going through these challenges of guiding their children, especially these young people, through career choices. Some would go to the university all the way up to maybe 4th year, some 5th year, for some of the high ed courses or the what we would call the STEM courses. And then later on, you find them now finding that the child was not interested in that particular line. Their interest was in another different kind of line. So it is interesting to see that many of us parents come from the background of what ourselves we went through. And therefore, we forget that these children are more exposed. As we said earlier, these are digital natives. They were born with technology in their hands. Unlike us who are digital migrants, we have just migrated with time. We may not know how much they know about the career options they have. So in the course of today, we shall be trying to understand Gen Z career perspectives. How do they see their careers? We shall explore the evolving job market because it is growing. Different aspects are coming in. I was looking at a study by an organization called Morning Consult that said 57% of Gen Zs in the US, they would prefer to be influencers if given the opportunity. This is compared to 41% of all the other age groups. That means that for them, they are thinking careers in a very different perspective. Then we shall be looking at practical communication. How do you communicate? And this is one of the areas our panelist, Shira, will be sharing with us, how she has communicated and guided the young generation about going through getting into their careers of choice. And then we shall have some actionable takeaways that every parent can take away and be able to implement gradually. So Shira, back to you. As a parent, how do you see your Gen Z children prioritize shaping their career choices? How have they gone about shaping their career choices? I know you had just started with one who decided not to be an architect and he chose a different area. How have you guys? Yes.
And so yes, maybe just to pick up from that conversation and to say, as parents, we are the first and continuing educators of our children. We want them to gain the knowledge, skills, attitudes, values, so that they can become, individuals that are productive members of society. So when you get into a situation where, like we did, this young man having this opportunity and him then saying, this is not what I want to do. You can imagine what now happens to us. But just to step back and to speak about, right from a young age, you could see his inclination was towards, creativity, towards building and making things with his hands. So for us, when he said, I don't want to do this, we were surprised, we were shocked, but not entirely, because we know him. And that's one of the things we like to say, for our children. Know your child, know their understand their interests, their hobbies, what do they like to do, what is their passion. And even as our children, I said we have three, we like to spend time with them, doing things that will bring out who they really are. For example, we like as a family to play games, whether it's outdoor games, board games, and that way you get to know, is this child someone who likes to work on their own, like to work in teams? And so knowing your child, knowing their characteristics, their temperaments, is very important. And that's one of the things that really helped us. The other thing is to listen to your child. And so when our son said, okay, so I don't want to do architecture, this is what I want to do, we had to really listen to what he was saying. Of course, like I said, we had to surrender our dreams for him to be an architect. That was our dream. But what is it that he really wanted to do? And so began a journey of trying to find what he would do. Like I said, we went to other universities and they said, because he didn't do fine art, then he cannot get a course in that area. So, you research, you go online, and, at that time, that was 2019, he was still stuck in the traditional careers, the doctor, the lawyer, the ones that we know, and emerging into the digital space where there were new emerging careers. So one time came across a flyer, talking about ADMI, African Digital Media Institute. At that time, I had no clue there was an institution like that. We didn't know what the courses, they offered. So decided to place it, ask the young man, so does this look like something you want to do? And at that time, of course, he himself was also getting anxious. What next? What do I want to do? So this is where ADMI came in. We took a walk and ended up at the ADMI campus. A first for me, a first for him. But just to say that it was a whole new world that opened for us as a parent, and for for my son, for our son at that time. When he walked in, I could see immediately that this was his place. And just walking around, I met a career officer there who was so welcoming, who was able to sit with him and speak to him. And for a moment, I was completely forgotten. I sat in a corner just watching. He walked around and saw, the equipment, the spaces, and he was very at home. And as a parent, that's what you want. You want to see your child come alive. And so I saw that. And so he walked around, he spent some time there, and ended up identifying a course he wants. But for me as a parent, it wasn't enough, because I was thinking, okay, this is all new. What's next? So I also had to have a conversation with one of the facilitators, the lecturers, who was very kind to tell me, I know this is all new for you, and was able to help me see a whole new world of opportunities in the digital space, in the gig economy. And I think that was sort of a turning point for me as a parent, in terms of seeing, a whole new world. I'm thinking, what is all this? And so that started a conversation and a journey for our son.
You're not alone. I saw several other parents going through similar experiences.
Yes.
There's a father who came when I was still in ADMI, and he asked me, what is it that you're giving my son? For the first time, he can look at me eyeball to eyeball. That for all the time that he was doing a different course, the son would never come near the father. They would never talk. But now he seemed to enjoy what he was doing. He was doing a career in sound engineering. And the father could not understand, what is this? That made the boy who came from civil engineering, and now he's doing a course in sound engineering. And he seems so excited that he was updating the father on day-to-day basis. Maybe Sheila can ask him, how is these young people's focus on technology and flexibility making it different for them or from other generations? As we said, these are digital natives. They focus so much on technology and they prefer flexibility. Is this different from your generation and the generations maybe immediately after?
Oh, most definitely. Definitely different. And for when we were when we were actually selecting careers and actually going through our education, automation and technology has influenced career paths. Is first of all, just apart from using technology, it's flexi hours, working 24 hours. And I mean, you can work anytime, you can work from any place. We didn't have the traditional structure, 8 to 5, and being, for example, even in a classroom setup, the way when we went to university, it was certain times, you had to have a lecturer. It was traditional classroom, a lecturer in front of you. But, for the Gen Z, and more specifically for someone who is creative like my son, our son, definitely different. There's remote work opportunities. There's the whole gig economy and all these new artificial intelligence. Ways to work, ways to learn. Definitely different. And so this is why, like I said, it was good to see my son feel in a space where he could be himself. He could fulfill his passion. I think one of the things that really excited him was the walking into a laboratory with big Mac computers and all the equipment that was available, and speaking the language that he could understand. And one of the things I remember is just thinking, so then this is where he will thrive. This is where he will find his place. And so we decided to support him. It wasn't easy. I mean, I can't say, it wasn't something that, we had to, talk to other people. We had to research. We had to find him mentors. We had to find experts who could explain to us, what it means and what his journey would look like. And just quickly, I'll just share, another story. So I was there with my son, seeing how happy he was in this space, finding his place, finding his tribe, finding, a place. And one of the things that we used to do, even for our children, even for our other children, one of our sons, loved to write. He was very analytical. Our daughter, very empathetic. We always found opportunities for them to try and be in a space where they could fit in, for example. So one time, my husband took our son to show an art exhibition, because we wanted him to be in a place. Is this the right thing for you? So took him to an art exhibition and was walking around. And then at some point they separated. My son found something interesting, and my husband ended up in the booth of an old man, an artist, showcasing his work. And as they were talking, at some point, the old man stopped talking and became very emotional. So my husband asked him, "I'm sorry, did I do something wrong? Did I say something wrong?" And the man said, I'm listening to you supporting your son in the area that he loves, his choice, the art, his creativity and his talent. And I'm an old man, and now in my old age, I'm able to do what I want. My father would not allow me to be an artist. And so I had to get to another vocation, because he pushed me to it. And now in my old age. And so that's the time when we agreed, with my husband, that we need to support our young people, in terms of, where they want to be in their passion. So, giving them opportunities to be the best versions of themselves. So, yeah, we learned in a different way, in a different dispensation, but now we had to do it for the young people, for our Gen Zs, as you would say. Yes, yeah.
That's true. Thank you, Shira, for sharing that. As you're sharing, Ruth Wahome, a former ADMI parent, says, I still have 2 more Gen Zs I'm trying to figure out. So as you're speaking, I'm sure many parents here are getting help on what to do with the young people, because it's no longer the way we would say you are going to become this. It is really understanding them, helping them navigate through who they are, understanding who they are, until they can be able to know what career aligns with who they are. As you're speaking, Shira, I heard you say that you really explored many options. You went to the internet, you went to different industries, trying to help your son get a place of choice. Shira, what industries or opportunities have stood out to you while you're exploring these career options for your child?
Okay. So one of the industries that we exposed him to was, should I say, sculpting. A career in sculpting, and this is where your network, the other parents or the other adults in your space come in, where they say your network is your network. So we had a friend who was a renowned sculptor, and so one of the things we did is we approached him and said, would you allow our son to come and spend time with you? This is his name is Kaiwa. He has a space called Corner Trust, where he brings different artists together. And so that was one of the industries. It was a whole new industry for us. We were able to take him there and get him to spend time. So that's one of the areas that we did, exposing him to industries like those, exposing him to spaces where he could see other people like him. I remember even speaking to their teachers, the people who, so parents are the first educators, but they spend a lot of time in schools, in the institutions. So one of the teachers, actually called us and said, I need to speak to you about one of your sons. We had 2 sons at that time in that school, about his, just his talent and his, what he was doing in terms of, spending a lot of time studying in class, but he always had something he was creating. He always had something he was doing. So, we talked about it. So I think just paying attention to them. I mean, of course, we have other children. Our first son was very analytical, very mathematical. For him, we knew he was going to go into, he went into computer science. He enjoyed computer science. So just supporting them in that area. I know we also went to, I think you asked about the industry. We went to XYZ. It was a show. At that time, we saw it. We saw it on TV, and we actually just found our way there, just to, take this young man to go and see, is this a space that you'd like to work in? Is this what you're looking at? So careers like those, where we exposed our son to, when he found time, he spent time in those spaces, and it sort of shaped the direction that he was taking.
Yeah, and I think the government is also have understood the different dynamics in the career options available. The current developments in the CBC has created 3 pathways. You find there's a pathway for STEM, for those that want to pursue sciences. There's a pathway that is for arts and sports. And in this pathway, you find that sports science has become a major area. Visual arts, illustrator, graphic designer, sculptor, painter, art director, has also become a major area. Performing arts, for those that want to become theater directors, choreographers, dancers, musicians, and so forth, they have been given a major area on their own. And of course, there has been the usual social science pathway of languages, humanities, and social studies. In addition to what, Sheila, you mentioned, I know that the creative industry for a long time was never perceived as a profession, until people have come to realize what some of the players in that market are earning as incomes. And you find that somebody is a DJ, somebody is a sound engineer, and that there's no movie that can be developed without them. There's no advert that can be developed without them. The people, areas of photography, they were seen like they belonged to some of those people that are failures in the market. My stay in ADMI showed me that some of the difficult teachers to get are teachers in videography and photography. So you find there are areas that are emerging that how we grew up, or the environment we grew in, our generations did not get that priority. But right now, those are the areas that you find parents are willing to pay. One time I was discussing with a gentleman from Korea. We are discussing about esports, and he said one of the highest watched match was an esport. The online games that children play with other people? It was being watched by 173 million people. And the highest, I think, World Cup was being watched by about 90-something million people. So, and you find those players are earning so much money. And this is an area that we never knew about. And now there are, now through institutions like ADMI, we're able to understand how can we make a business case out of the esports, out of the game design areas and so forth that we have. So things are changing, and parents must be ready to know that the world is changing very quickly, and we can only make sure that we rise to the occasion to be able to support our young people. Sheila, you mentioned something about the effect of automation and technology and the way it is influencing career paths. And I may just want to add something and say, yes, this is very true. With automation, everything today, there is more and more being adopted. If you look, the moment that you go to Kenya Power to buy anything or to buy tokens, you find if you have a problem with it, they will not directly take you to a receiver on the other side. But most likely it will be coded that somebody, if you want help, get one. If you want English, get this. If you want, Safaricom also does that, and I think all the telecommunications. And in many more areas, many things are becoming automated. I spent some time with people from the Institute of Customer Excellence, and we were looking at the effect of automation on customer service. And we were saying, yeah, the human component seems to be getting removed from it. So our young people understanding the roles that they can play, and the good thing is they're adept in using technology. The way many careers are being affected by automation, by technology, one must stay up to date with it. I have seen that there are many documents that you'd go to a lawyer to prepare for you. But today, you just go online. Registering a business, you just go online on yourself. You know, all those processes that you needed a lawyer, you needed an accountant to do, now you can be able to do them much easily. And I can assure you, before long, even a doctor's work, you hear a surgery is being done in Robbie Hospital, but the doctor is somewhere in India. Things are changing. I think it is upon us, especially the parents, support our children so that they are ready for the world of tomorrow, or actually the world of today, because things are really changing and changing very fast.
Yeah, it's very true. Like, for example, my daughter always talks about content creators. You know, they're making a lot of money. Just all you need is what you need, just a camera, a nice location, and, you know, content creators, you know, app developers, a whole new world, like you're saying, sound engineers. And so for me, those are some of, you know, some of the areas that we're being exposed to. We have to, it's dynamic, it's changing. We can't keep up. But like you're saying, yes, we need to be aware and just, you know, provide opportunities for, you know, for our young, you know, the Gen Zs and the young ones. For example, we're talking about sound engineering, and these days, you know, especially after COVID, even just looking at our church services, now it's a whole production, you know, and so having, you know, your young Gen Zs probably volunteer in church to find out if eventually they want to become sound engineers and, you know, things like that. So just like I was saying, you know, being aware, you know, knowing your child, listening to them and really what they want, and then supporting them in that area, providing opportunities for them to really, I guess, to volunteer, to do apprenticeship, to work under mentors and experts until eventually they find their careers. The other thing is also sometimes they change, you know, and my daughter was saying, you know, she was one of the days she was saying, change with me. I'm also trying to fit into this dynamic emerging space, but just remember that I am an individual with, you know, I'm not an extension of you. I am, you know, I am this young person who has, you know, my needs for myself, you know, my passion, my interests. Yes. And so just support me in that space. Yes.
Thank you, Sheila, for that. I spent some time yesterday with my daughter who is in Form 3 going to Form 4. And she's at that point where she's saying, Dad, I don't know what I want to do, and so forth. And we took time to go through personality tests. There's some personality tests that are free online. And we were able to get the 16 personalities. From there, she was able to see, as she answered questions, she was placed in a particular personality type, and they said, these are the career options that are available. And I did that because I have done it in my work, meeting many different parents and meeting different young people, in helping them to know, first understand yourself. Once you know who you are, what would naturally align with you? There'll be nothing as good like when you wake up in the morning and you're going to a job that is like a hobby to you, that you're being paid to do a hobby. You know, every day is a joy. But then if you make a mistake and you choose a career that is not right, then you find every now and then you want to transition, you want to move, you're unhappy. Somebody said that many employees who die of heart attack, they die on on Monday morning. Monday morning, why? Because it is after the weekend, they were very happy, they were excited. Then Monday morning, you realize you're just reporting to a job that you hate and maybe to a boss that you don't like, and your heart just attacks you. It cannot cope with the demands and where you are taking it to. So us helping our children to be able to get jobs that are naturally aligned with who they are becomes very important. But before we leave on the impact of automation and technology, I saw this report by the World Economic Forum, which say that by the year 2025, which is in a few days' time, because we're already in December 2024, automation and AI technologies are expected to create 133 million new jobs, while also displacing 20 million jobs. So of the existing 75 million jobs, they'll be declared redundant. They're no longer needed because AI technology, automation, the AI technology and automation will have taken up their jobs. Takes me back to when I was training computers, teaching computers, and there were those people that were so resistant from adopting computers. And before long, we told them, no manager will have a secretary. So if you're a secretary, please look for something else. Come and do computers so that you can fit in a new dispensation. And those that resisted, it didn't take a year or two before they were told, you have been declared redundant. And because the new direction is every manager should be able to type their own letters, to take their own minutes or notes, and so forth. And the same thing I read some times back, I think it was in 2019, by Dell Technologies that said, by the year 2030, 75% of the current jobs that we are doing will no longer be existing. They'll have been replaced by new jobs. And that is why our young people must stay adept at the learning, continuously looking at what is new, continuously adapting to the changes in both the environment and in technology so that they can stay up to date. Now, I know communicating with our young people is not always easy. And Sheila, you have said you have 3 Gen Zs. How have you gone about, maybe apart from that one, how have you gone about discussing with them about the choices of careers and even them fitting into the job market, knowing that these people prefer a job where they can be managers of themselves? They prefer not an 8 to 5. They prefer more flexible working environments and so forth. How have you been able to navigate this journey with them?
Wow, that's a good question. I think for us, is being very present right from the start, and let's just say communicating, answering their questions right from the start. From a very young age, we're able to have conversations really about just about anything. About things that matter to them, their faith, who they are, what's happening around them. So the lines of communication were open from a very young age, and we were very intentional about being present in their lives, and just spending time. I know people talk about quality time, but I feel for time to be quality, there has to be quantity time. You have to spend time with them, understanding who they are, and so that when these conversations come up, then you're able to hear them, you're able to listen to them, and speak to them at their level. One of the things we've also done is also keeping abreast. We try to keep abreast. Things are happening very fast, but to keep abreast of what's happening, around and also in their spaces, so that even when we're having conversations, we try to be most times, at the same level with them, and just accommodating their interests, even when they seem not to align with us. I know that there's of course that generational difference, but just trying to keep, connected with them and communicating with them, spending time with them, being intentional about, being there for them, and also recognizing we have three. They're all our children, but they're individuals and they have their own interests, their own skills and strengths, and just trying to support them in that space. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you, Sheila, for that. I have had opportunities to talk to many parents, and what I realized in career choices, the people that need, I think, to be more educated on this is more the parents. I think we are the more rigid ones. The young people are very versatile. They are willing to see what is coming and they quickly adapt. But I noted that we have to keep on talking to our parents and telling them that things are changing. And we don't want a young person to be caught in redundancy, because the organization is shifting, there are changes that are taking place, but they are not ready. So as an educationist, I have known that it is important that we find opportunities to reach to parents. From career teachers when they're holding the career day, they need also to be updated on what are the career options, what are the changes in the current, very volatile, the world is changing, the world of career is changing very quickly. So making them understand what options are there so that we are not limiting our young people to only the traditional careers that we knew, but then now bring them to these new aspects, the changes in the career field, and it has helped a lot of them. Being open, listening to your children, even to the unspoken, becomes important because they may not be able to clearly hear what you have said. And I fully agree with your approach. I think it's good because you are allowing them to speak themselves, to communicate what they feel, and to tell you what they want. They are not an extension of you, and therefore do not push them. What I've seen that some parents, they wanted to become lawyers, but they didn't get the grade, and therefore they missed. And they said, in my house, a lawyer will have to come out of what I can say, a doctor and so forth. Last Sunday, this weekend was of attending graduations. But last Sunday, I attended a very interesting graduation. The father was giving how the son ended up being a doctor. And he said, when the child was in class 4, the child kept on insisting he's unwell. And therefore, they kept on taking him to the hospital. Every now and then, they were taking him to the hospital. Until one day, the doctor said, this child is not sick. He just wants to spend time in a hospital environment. Of course, the audience could not understand where the father is going to. So the doctor told the father, maybe you should be bringing him more often, especially when the schools are closed. Let him come and see how some of these things are being done. And the father said, and in that graduation, there was one of the doctors who the young man has job shadowed for a long time. The father said, every holiday he used to take, and sometimes the young man could accompany the doctor to the theater and even to the labor wards. And they said by the time the boy was in class 8, he could deliver a baby. Now, that was very shocking. And throughout high school, every holiday, the young man kept on going. So by the time he was getting to university, it was natural for him. And the young man said he never struggled. And medicine can be challenging, but he never struggled because it was aligned with him. That is apparent, and a doctor who are able to identify a preference, a career preference, an innate need within the child, and they guided the child to help them to pursue a certain career that is of choice. So the young man says the next thing is he wants to go back and do a career in neurosurgeon, and he is very, very determined. You can see the determination. That's where he's fitting in. And along the way, you have seen many others who have fitted in really what in the careers that they wanted to pursue. So I think it's an ongoing conversation that parents need to open doors and avenues for communication, for listening to the young people, and even for parents now to keep on reading widely on what are the trends. in the career field, that we can be able to guide the young people in choosing the careers of their choice. Maybe the other question that I can ask you, Shira, is
Okay.
Sorry, you're speaking, Shira?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I also agree in terms of allowing our children to opportunities to volunteer, to go into spaces. For example, I remember our son, when he was in school, they built a classroom in Lodwa, and it was very fulfilling for him, and to just understand, he got to understand the construction industry and what goes into it. Our daughter went to spend time in a hospice, and our other son also, spent time in a school, working with the young learners, teaching them, different things, and so volunteering, actually, giving their time and service, even as they're trying to find their place. So that will get them to say, maybe this is an area I would like to get into. This is an area, I'm not interested in. So volunteering their time, and just also spending time with mentors and experts to get them to be in the spaces and get to understand whether that is really a career that they want to pursue. So us as parents also provide these opportunities for young people to come and spend time with us, to for us to be mentors to the young people, so that then they can find their place.
Thank you. You have mentioned something very important on areas in which the parents can do. I think one of them you have just mentioned volunteering, that offering a service, being available, especially when they have gone for holiday. I saw one high school, I think it was Starehe Boys. They used to do job shadowing. I think they still do, where the young people would go and be attached to different professionals. And job shadowing is also another very important thing that parents can do, whereby you can be able to tell your neighbor who is maybe in a certain career field, and you feel like your child may want, maybe for one day, to accompany, for your child to accompany that officer to go and see what needs to be done. One day, take your child to the hospital and just tell the doctor, I'd like this child to see what you do. Take them to a lawyer. Sometimes take them to parliament and see parliamentarians discussing. And some of them, out of that, they'll get the eureka moment, where they realize what I saw is what I connected with. I have liked the idea of volunteering, and there are many opportunities to volunteer in different career fields that one can get into. Of course, we have talked about being able to carry out personality tests. There are many free options available online to help your child to understand who they are and what careers best suits them, and so forth. And there are many other ways in which young people may know what careers really works best for me. And I think the best thing that parents can do for now is to expose the young people to as many opportunities as possible. Let them see what people in agriculture do, what people in movie industry, what it takes to come up with a movie, what it takes to come up with a full, any sector of the society. Just like what you said, that once your son went and they were able to see the construction industry and see what different people do, then from there it is very easy for you to guide them that for a building to start, it takes all these steps up and down. Another question that I may ask you, Shira, is the challenges that you have faced in finding the balance between offering guidance and you're allowing your child to make independent decisions. To what extent can a parent push in the name of offering guidance?
Wow. Wow, that I think, of course, depends on different circumstances. But at the end of the day, what you want as a parent, there's nothing as fulfilling as guiding your children to follow their passion. And sometimes it might not be in line with what you want for them, but it's just knowing that as a parent, that's why you're there. You're there to guide them, to support them, to facilitate them. I mean, from our experience, you can imagine there was anxiety when our son decided to take this path. But because we knew him, we knew what his passions were, we knew what he excelled in, his giftings, we were able to support him. And so just take like you're saying, small faith steps, just saying, okay, this is what we want for our son, and this is how we want to do it. And like you said, there are many ways to do it. You can research, you can read about these different options that are available. You can speak to other parents. You can, like we did, I mean, just finding ADMI for us was the best thing that happened in terms of just this whole new space where creatives were given a space to be who they are, and just also speaking to other parents in the same going through the same issues. And so of course there's that balance. You can imagine us as parents trying to understand our son and trying to explain to his grandparents this whole world of what does he want to do, what is animation, what is motion graphics, what is so just being open-minded, like you say. And we are people of faith, and also one thing that really helped us was there's a verse in 1 Thessalonians, allow me to quote 5:17. I think that verse refers to parents of Gen Zs, parents of teenagers, parents generally. Pray without ceasing. Also, there's that aspect of this is our child, these are our children. And when I talk about children, I talk about my children and children in my circle of influence and children generally. You want the best for them, and so you're saying, here we are. This is what we want, and how best can we support them? So we read a lot. We spoke to many people. We researched on the internet. We attended parenting courses. We and we're happy we are where we are, and that's why we are happy to also have these sessions so that other parents like us can find a place where they can support their children to be the best versions of themselves.
Thank you so much, Sheila. A question. There are parents who have insisted on that a child must complete the course that the parent prescribed. Do medicine, do law, do accounts. But then when the child has completed their course, they bring the parent the certificate and they tell the parent, this was for you. Now allow me to go and pursue my course. What is the danger in doing that?
Oh, okay. So I think the danger, first of all, is living your life through your child. And that way, then it becomes very frustrating, because then your child is doing this for you and not for themselves. And then number two, it's a waste of, allow me to say, time, resources, energy, when you could just allow this child to pursue what they want. And in that way, you're telling them, this is what you want to do, so go and do it to the best of your capacity. And one of the things I would say is that was the push and pull that we had. It was really a big dilemma. Do we push this child to do architecture because that is what we want, that is what society wants? And many people told us, like, are you serious? That is what you want to do, you want your son to do? And of course there was that push and pull. But we found that when eventually he got to ADMI, and started the course. Oh my goodness. He gave him of himself 100%. I mean, he did. In fact, at some point we had to remind him to come home. Like, honestly, he would be the last person left with I think the watchman closing the gates. Because that is what he wanted to do. He gave of himself, and he did well, excelled. He found the support that he needed. He found the tools, the equipment, the support, the facilitators, the lecturers, and he did well. He actually graduated with distinction because that is what he wanted to do. And just to share that, while we were there, we had parent-teacher sessions. And this is not to, this is to just say that some parents shared with us, how frustrating and how painful it was for their child to do a course for 5, 6, 7 years and then say, this is for you. Now let me do what I want. And so this is what we are saying, circumstances are different, but we need to allow them to pursue their passions. Of course, be the parent, guide them, facilitate them, support them, but let them be, and
let them finally make the choice.
Let them finally make the choice.
Thank you very much. I was talking to a lecturer in the School of Medicine in Nairobi University who told me there's a near, I don't know, maybe last year, but one, they admitted 600 students for medicine. After first year, only 200 managed to go to second year. And she was telling me, many of those young people become very frustrated. There are those who choose to go to other courses that are not as demanding, but others, they get into drunkenness and a lot of drugs because they're trying to cope up with the frustration. There are others who will wait for those 6, 7 years to tell the parents finally have graduated, only to go carrying the whole village. Then you realize that he's not in the list or she's not in the list. And many parents have gone through those motions, very, very painful, but simply because sometimes we push them through careers that they did not want. One last question to you, Shira. There's also this scenario where parents say, in my home, we will not have a DJ. In my home, we will not have, this career. How do you go about advising a parent who is authoritarian? He says, as long as you're under my roof, you cannot do that course.
So that's wow, that's definitely a difficult one, a challenging one, and one that is a scenario that plays around in many homes. And I know it can be difficult to address, but I guess there are ways to go about it. Maybe use another adult in the child's life, or use maybe someone, adult or person of influence in that person's life. Because you can imagine if a parent is saying, you must do this, then it becomes very difficult for them to change their mind, because they're set in their ways and they want to live their life through their child. It's not easy. I don't think it's easy. Maybe, I don't know if there are any other anybody else on the call who can respond, because I know it is a challenge that many parents, many young people face. I have spoken to many young people who have asked me, please speak to my parents. We've done that. We have actually spoken to parents who have been very rigid and said, sorry, that our child, no, it's okay, our child must do this course. So some young people have come to us and have asked us to speak to their parents. Some even teachers or lecturers. So I guess it's every situation is different, but just trying to get the parent to understand that in the end, it's going to be detrimental not only to the child, but also to the family and to everyone at hand.
Thank you very much, our dear parents. I hope you are following up well. Kaidre, feel free to ask any questions. And Rachel, in case you have any questions with you, you can pass them on so that our panelists can help us in answering some of the questions. Parents, feel free if you can put your question on the chat. Just below the screen, you'll see chat. You can put it down there, and we will be able to answer you. As Shira was answering, and as parents continue asking their questions, I have had that opportunity where the young people have come and said, please talk to my dad, talk to my mom. He doesn't think, or she doesn't think what I'm choosing is a career. This field, as I gave some statistics, that 57% of the Gen Zs in the US, they want eventually to add in their careers to be influencers. You know, they want to be content creators. They want to get into TikTok, you know, those fields. The social media environment is their field of prey. And out of that, they are getting not only satisfaction, but they are also making money. What we need as parents is always to make sure that we guide them on the best way on areas that they should not really get into. Telling them to stay within certain lines and clearly stating the boundaries becomes very important. And of course, not just speaking, not just stating, but guiding them, explaining to them why some areas may not be good for them to venture into. One thing that I have also kept on reminding the young people is that internet never forgets. That sometimes if you put in quotes unholy content, it may appear in your future when you are up there and some people bring it in and it may affect you. So we use the internet, we use the social media platform with utmost really responsibility, that we are responsible for anything that we put out there. And as parents, let's keep on communicating, we will guide them.
Maybe just a quick one. Another area that is new and is also in a space that I work in is green jobs. You know this whole climate action, reducing carbon emissions, promoting sustainability, and looking at preserving and restoring the environment. That's a whole other area. Climate smart agriculture, renewable energy, waste management. You know, that's a whole new. I know, and the digital. Automation and technology is also, really contributing to, for example, agriculture. We have all urban farmers. The profile of a farmer these days is definitely different from what you imagine. And so it's a whole, space, a whole new space of, sustainability jobs, green jobs, and just preparing our young people in that space will definitely be something that parents are looking at. Just you can't imagine. I mean, even my own trajectory, as in terms of my career, where I am working at now. 20 years from now, I would not have imagined that this is where I would be. So, yeah, definitely. Conversations we want to have with our young people and providing the opportunities. I know there are many parents online. I don't know if we can hear from them, what they're thinking, what their thoughts are. We'll be happy also to hear from you. We're good to learn because we're just sharing. We're not experts. We're learning every day. It's an opportunity to learn. I work with young learners. I work with in schools, and they're always very keen to to learn even from us. So happy to hear from you online too. Thank you.
I can see a comment by Valentine Buro. We as parents and society need to celebrate all different careers of course, as long as they are legal fields. So young people shouldn't feel the need to do careers that are more celebrated than others. That's a very good comment, Valentine. Yes, nowadays we say you can make big money out of any field. All you need is to be an expert in that particular field. Long time, people never thought that sporting can earn you money. But today we see that footballers, runners, athletes, there are some of those people that are earning big money. You know, as I mentioned earlier, the esports, big money. The creative industry, big money. So as parents, we cannot now stick to the traditional careers. We allow our young people to explore different areas. Parents feel free to continue commenting and even asking questions.
Yes, I think maybe just to add on to Valentine's comment, very, very true. I mean, even as we we navigate, career options with our young people, with our young Gen Zs, they need to know that they have to be ethical, they have to be ethical citizens, they have to, values, very important, very, very key in terms of how we are guiding them. Because very true, there's the get rich quick, kind of careers. That's not what we are talking about. We want ethical, engaged, empowered, citizens when they grow up. They need to be productive members of society, and very important also, just looking at all-rounded, looking at their physical, social, intellectual, emotional, and right now mental is very, very becoming very big, mental, moral, and spiritual. So yes, parenting is a big assignment, and leading them in their career path is just one of the many things we have to do as parents. But what we are saying is we want them to be ethical citizens, and ethical citizens and productive members of society, not destructive members of society. There's one quote that I like that really, speaks to what I do, what we do, and it's from someone called Wes Stratford, the President Emeritus of Compassion International. He says, every child you encounter is a divine appointment. So we, anytime we encounter a child, we need to teach, to guide, to nurture, to love, to bless, so that then at the end of it, they can be the best versions of themselves, even as they become citizens.
Thank you, Shira. I don't know what to say. You've been great. I can see Rehema says, great emphasis, Peter and Shira. I mentor kids in the art scene through Smart Me. I'm happy that this conversation has been presented ethically and professionally, upholding the great role every career path plays. Let us encourage our children to embrace their talents and support them in the best way possible. Thank you, Rehema, for that. We appreciate your comment. Shira, we sincerely appreciate that you found time to come and share with us that which yourself you have gone through and that has helped you to navigate this field with your young people. It is still a field that many of us are navigating. Many parents here, some of them have even the more younger ones, and the world will keep on changing and things will be changing with time. Benedict says, I totally agree with Shira. Patience and nurturing are critical ingredients when working with creatives. Considering creatives are things differently. Considering creatives see things differently and communicate in special mediums. Sorry for that. I've worked with creatives in climate change space, and it has opened them great opportunities. And I hope one of these days, Shira, you get some time to come and talk with us about the green economy. It's a major emerging market that also, especially the young people, need to know, and how they can connect between the different careers and how they ride on each other. Neri says, thank you, Shira, for sharing your experience. Very true that now many options are available as vacations, opportunities to share experiences and challenges in parenting are there. We just need to be open-minded and venture into unknown and trust God, for his plans are good. Helen Maura says, there are many kids who have finished Form 4, and when you ask them what they want to do, they seem not to know. How do we help them to know what they can pursue? Like we mentioned, Helen, there are several ways. One of them is exposing them to as wide a field as possible. Also giving them opportunities to volunteer. There are many volunteer opportunities that are available, even in organizations. There's a young man who went to an organization and said, I want work. And he was told there are no jobs. But he said, I didn't say I need a job, I just want work. And that organization, actually Coca-Cola, they gave him the chance to work every morning. But they were so excited by the person he was that eventually, when an opening came 3 months later, he was the first person. He was just picked in. Being able to volunteer to do work, the worst they can do is to sit at home. But if they can volunteer, if they can be exposed to as many jobs as possible, if they can also try to read as widely as possible, because all these things are available online, then it will be much, much better for them. Before I can see there is, what advice do you have for parents in guiding Gen Z kids to balance career decisions with their desire for purpose-driven work? What advice do you have for parents in guiding Gen Z kids to balance career decisions with their desire for purpose-driven work? Shira, do you have a comment on that?
Wow, that's an interesting question. I think, first of all, like you rightly mentioned, is to expose our children, to provide them with opportunities to be in spaces where they can find their calling. For example, they can give of their time, of their skills, and one of the ways purpose-driven work, I presume, is probably, for example, volunteering in a church or in a children's home, in places where they can be led or guided to see this is the kind of space that I want to work in. This is the area that I want to work in, because of course purpose-driven work is, it's a calling, it's a ministry. So just volunteering in church, volunteering in different places, but they're also, I know there are very many courses. For example, just off the top of my head, I can think of navigators. It's a course by a well-known, he was a scientist, but went into the area of family, family, building families. His name is Dr. Stanley Mukolwe, and I know they have courses where you can pick up a course and it will help to guide you. Is this an area that you want to do? Because then purpose-driven work is a calling. It's something that you need to really, it needs to come from within. So just exposing your children to these opportunities, and then that way, then if that's the area they're inclined in, then you just support them to go into those kind of courses, in those kind of programs, and then as a parent, just keeping an eye, having these conversations with them will help you to see if that's an area that they want to go into.
Thank you, Shira. Maybe
yes, and also keeping an eye for the kind of needs that they can meet. Yes.
Thank you. In addition, let me make this comment. ADMI, in their programs, they have a course they call Career Launchpad, and that course, the part one of it looks into helping young people to understand their mission and vision. Why are they here? Can they see 10 years down the line? And then it helps them to see if 10 years down the line, you want to be one of the most accomplished animator, or game designer or sound engineer and so forth, then what do you need to do? What milestones will help you to get there? So once they understand their mission, their purpose in life, then now they are able to say, not that currently maybe I'm a first-term student, then for me to be the person I'm seeing 10 years down the line, what are the things that I'll need to work on? And they are helped by their teachers to understand themselves, to see how they can network and co-work with others to be the person that they desire to be in the next several years. And in it, they are taught communication, they are taught how to work in teams, how to create for themselves a profile and a portfolio, so that by the time they're getting out, they can show, I have been able to do this amount of work, and this is where I'm heading to. They're already purpose-driven. They are very clear in their mind that this is what they want to do in future and contribute to mankind. There's a question here. Are there more such sessions in the near future? How frequently do they occur? I will leave this question to Rachel, who is coming immediately after this. Allow me, because of time, to give a big thank you to Shira. We sincerely appreciate your time. You've done a great job. You have helped our parents, and we so much appreciate that you have taken time to share with us some things that are pretty personal, what you have walked through with your children. And me as a parent have been able to get points or ways in which I can engage, involve my children in a conversation, and find my way into helping them to make a career of their choice. The areas that you have covered on children being able, as parents, helping them to volunteer in different industries, maybe being available, even to go and support the children's homes in the churches or the place of worship that they are in, where they can be able to realize, to get into the aha moment that they realize, I'm good at that. How do we as parents learn to listen to our children, both communicated and uncommunicated? Because as you said, you observed what was giving excitement to your child. And with time, you are able to work with them. How about not being authoritarian and saying that this cannot be done in my home, and allowing them to be? You said something that your daughter mentioned to you, that they're not an extension of you. Allow them the freedom to choose the courses that they want of their own choice. So thank you so much, Shira. We appreciate on behalf of Africa Digital Media Institute, once again, I say thank you. And this time, allow me to call upon Rachel to come in and tell us, if as a parent, I want guidance on how I can get counseling for my child, who can I see? How do I make it to ADMI? And what career choices do you have? Thank you, Shira. A lot of people saying great insights. Karibu sana, Rachel.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. This was such an amazing session. And thank you so much to our remarkable guest speakers, Madam Sheila and Vita, for your inspiring insights and sharing your experiences. This has truly enriched this session today. And a big thank you to all of you that joined us as well. Like, you participated, you asked questions, and this has been amazing. And it was very impactful to every one of us. So as we wrap up, I'd like to briefly introduce ADMI. Africa Digital Media Institute, ADMI, we are passionate about empowering Africa's creatives by mentoring them and offering them training in areas such as film and TV, photography, graphic design, animation, digital marketing, and many more. We are passionate about seeing the journey of these young people and how they turn their passion into a profession. So for anyone who is interested in knowing more about our programs, kindly connect with us. Our contact details are here on the screen. Our numbers are there. We can give you details, all details about our programs and about our career launchpad program that we have for all our students that enroll with us. So with that, without much information, I'd like to thank everyone once again, and we'll be inviting you to these sessions. On a weekly basis, we usually have webinars that are geared towards several topics. So this week, we wanted to tackle the Gen Zs. Last week, we looked at how we can mentor young boys. So look out for more webinars from us. We're going to send you information, since if you have registered for this webinar, that means you're already on our mailing list, and we shall send you the updates that we usually send to our lists. So asanteni sana. I wish you a great evening, and thank you so much for joining us today.